Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another market update for Crucible of War. Have a good day for you planned in this update. First off, I just want to say thank you to all the patrons. Patrons are the driving force behind this channel, and if you're a patron of mine, you get access to all the data in a collection tracker that you can kind of update for yourself, and it kind of automatically tracks the value of your collection. It's pretty awesome. I know there are other ways to track your value in the community. There's some websites out there that pull kind of automatically. I do really feel like the data that I pull is potentially more accurate week to week, just because it's not pulled automatically. But those places are also great. But just so you know, patrons, you're also supporting the channel. You're supporting all the giveaways. You're supporting all the stuff that I get to do. I hope that you feel like it's more than just this collection tracker. Anyway, thank you to all the patrons who support the channel. And also thank you to Mitch and Andrew over at the Midtown Merchant. Mitch and Andrew have been a huge support to me, just friendship wise. And they also throw out an amazing website to buy singles. And they've given us a promo code. So Just Love 10 gets you 10% off of any cards. It's a one-time use. And then patrons also get a new updated code every month that they can use once a month as well. So 10% off. And then if you can't find your cards over at Midtown Merchant, you can pick them up on TCG Player, and you can use my link in the description. Unfortunately, that doesn't save you any money, but it does help support the channel, or at least that's what I've been told. I haven't seen anything from that yet, but we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks. And again, that all just helps support the channel. You're going to buy cards anyway. Pick them up from those two places if you can, and thank you so much for that. So without further ado, let's get into Crucible of a War. So let's see what's going on here. Let me get rid of my there. So the box prices, I've got set the box prices at $4.85. Now I know that Channel Fireball, I think you can get them on Channel Fireball for like $4.65, $4.70. But that also, you have to pay shipping, you have to pay fees, whatever. So I've kind of put these at $4.85, and that's also accurate for what's going on eBay. It's sitting around the $4.75 mark as well. So interesting to see these going down. I don't know exactly what's happening. I know this is really just in the last 2 days that they've been kind of going down, I guess. So I think it's a good price personally. I don't know what's going on with Crucible. I guess still some distributors are still giving product. The Channel Fireball thing definitely hurt the box prices. We'll see how long Channel Fireball holds it at that price, and how many boxes or cases or whatever that they actually have in stock, and before we see that price move up. Eventually it will. It's a sealed box, but we'll see how long it takes and see how far down it goes. It seems like that's probably the price bottom right now because of Channel Fireball putting it there. That's kind of how Arcane Rising and WTR have worked. But we'll see what happens there. So $4.85 for a sealed box, and that's the price we're going to see if we can beat here with the EV of the set. So let's go on to the Fabled, which is the Arc Knight Shard. The Shard saw a little bit of an increase this week. I have seen multiple on Facebook that are asking for $4,000. I've seen a couple that have asked for $3,500. It all kind of depends on condition with the Shard. Like you've seen my Shard, mine would not get the premium of $4,000. So I've got this at $3,750, mostly because of a public auction that a best offer price was accepted. This is 130point.com. If you haven't used that, you can search eBay sales, and it will show you the actual sold price of the best offer. So on eBay, this would say $5,000 with a line through it, but on 130point, you can get the actual sold price, which they pull from the tax information. So yeah, that's the only one that's sold on eBay this week, but that seems to be about the going rate on Facebook as well. And let's go on over to the Legendary. The Cheyenne is dipping down just a little bit. We had a huge growth in Cheyenne last week, so just another little retracement back down. There were I think 2 sold listings I saw at that price. And the Tunic is moving down a little bit too. This is kind of trajected low over the last couple weeks. And the Twinning Blade kind of just sticking at what it has been for quite a while. So all in all, a 6% decrease in the legendaries, and I call the Twinning Blade a legendary, even though it's technically not, but it seems that pull rate is. But all in all, your average is sitting around $1,000. I don't take this -6 too hard because last week we had a 12% increase. So this is just typical market movement, right? Market retracements. I would anticipate next week we probably have like a 5% increase or something like that. Nothing to write home with, unless the crew boxes going down causes more boxes to get opened, and then we'll see this tail down a little bit. But there's your little graph there for yourself. Let's go on to the cold foils. Again, a lot of sold listings all the time for these cold foils. This kind of fits in the same category as those WTR common cold foils, where we just see a lot of them moving on the market. So take these prices all with a grain of salt. These prices are kind of what I saw as sold listings. You might be able to find some from like a less reputable seller on TCG Player. Occasionally, you might be able to win an auction at a little bit less than these prices on eBay. Most of the sold listings come from buy it now eBay stuff. So just keep that all in mind. Make sure you're shopping around for your own prices. This is kind of what I view as the market price that's given with public market data, Facebook, TCG Player, and eBay. So all in all, no strange movements. We had some auctions, and anything you see with like a 50 cent, which was probably an auction, not just a wrapper. That was funny. All right, here we go. Mandible Claw, that was an auction. So, it just landed a little bit less than the market price was last week. The Kadachi was an auction as well. That landed a little bit less than a buy it now last week. The Zephyr Needle. All right, so I have this one in red, and that's because there was an auction that ended for $42, which I should have gone in to see if it was damaged or something like that. But that does not, in my mind, apply to what we're seeing with the rest of the cards. It just seems too low for Zephyr Needle Reverse. So I kind of put it at 75 based on some other sales. There were some sales that were higher. There were some sales that were more close to like the 71, and of course the other Zephyr Needle sold for 71. So I kind of put it at 75. We'll see what happens with it next week. But just know that if you see that sold listing on eBay for $41, that's an outlier. I just don't want to include outliers and call that a market price. So Centauri Saber kind of up this week, was a sold listing. I think last week was a auction. So it seems like if you are buying cards, auctions are certainly the way to go, because it seems like auctions usually end a little bit lower than the buy it now prices. So just keep that in mind. Like we saw this with Plasma Barrel Shot. Last week there was a buy it now accepted for 130, but this week we had an auction that only got to 97 or 96. Redliner at 102. Nothing, no real strong movements here. A couple of them went down, but nothing rapid. And moving on to the Majestics, we had Skullhorn that gained some value, Crater Fist that lost some value. Again, these are all going to be kind of up and down based on who's selling them what weeks, or how many sold what week, or how many hit the market that week. So all in all, we had a 10% loss in the cold foils. I would definitely chalk that up. This is 2 weeks in a row. We kind of saw people didn't know what was going on with boxes, and now all of a sudden Channel Fireball came out and they've got boxes. So more are getting opened. I think we'll kind of see a retracement until we see that supply kind of dried up. But the only other one, Gambler's Gloves, sold for $405. I think that was an auction. I can't remember all these off the top of my head. Oh, Visiortronic was a big one at $285, and Perch Grapplers at $255. So there were some downward trends, some pretty harsh downward trends with some of these cards. But I would not lose faith in them. I would not all of a sudden go and sell your cards. These are still valuable and first edition cold foils. It just, boxes are being opened right now. I've opened myself a case in the last week. So on the channel, you've seen it. So not a case, I think 3 boxes. I'm gonna open another box, I think, for my shop tonight. But anyway. We're down 10%, and that is kind of what it is. Breeze Rider Boots, I did want to mention that one, $299. I did sell the one my shop opened for him at $350 on TCG Player this week, but there was one listed for $299. So like I said, it just depends on when you're looking in the market, depending. I'm taking a whole week's perspective, but if you would have pulled this data on Wednesday when I sold Breeze Rider Boots for $350, that price would have been $350. Somebody bought it on TCG Player for that price. So just keep that in mind. It's all depends on when you pull the data. So I pull the data the same time every week. This is the weekly data. So All right, let's get to the Majestic rainbow foils. I'm going to skip to the end and show you we had a 14% retracement. Again, that's from last week when we had a 7% increase. So keep that all in mind that this isn't just a huge tanking price. Part of this is more boxes being opened, and part of this is market retracement. So some of the big ones, there's a tome right now on a TCG player for $240, which is a pretty good price compared to where it was last week. Cooks a Commotion, kind of down. That was a hard one to find prices for this week. I saw one on eBay that I was watching, and it just kind of disappeared and never got sold. So anyway, but I'm sure it got sold off eBay is what happened. But Gaze the Ages were down a little bit. Chain Lightning, nothing, in these other ones. The kind of the generic one was the biggest. The tone was the biggest movement, I think. Dread Triptych kind of dropped down to $30. Plasma Purifier, everything's kind of down across the board, honestly. Again, this kind of goes to more boxes being opened, and so more cards are hitting the market. And the other thing that was announced this week was, I forgot to mention this at the top, but Crew Unlimited, kind of more people caught on that they put that to be announced on their website. So that may make people more attuned to selling some of the cards, some of the singles that they have, knowing that Crew Unlimited's coming. Like Mangold dropped almost 50% of value. So obviously people have come on and put cards on, and stuff has dropped. So, and Beast Within is also down quite a bit. So all in all, though, like a 14% decrease. I would say this is a great time to pick up Crew singles, honestly. Again, I'm trying to keep my opinions to the podcast that I have in my Patreon, but I will share some of them occasionally if I think, like, man, I don't know, it just seems like good prices. But all right, and that's not what I'm sharing this week with my patrons. So that stuff's that is all about investing, and this is more like if you are buying cards to play with right now, this seems like a good time to buy, is what I'm trying to say. So, all right, did we show you the graph? I don't think we did. Here's the graph for that. So nothing too radical. We've seen a sharp increase, and we're still up over the last 3 months or the last month. So. All right, let's go to the non-foil Majestics. We had just a 4% decrease this week. Some of the more bigger ones, these kind of equipment, are all kind of holding true. And kind of earlier in the week, we saw them dip a little bit harder, and now they've kind of bounced back up. We already saw the kind of a bigger retracement happened like 2 weeks ago when that first announcement hit the website. So these are now just kind of stabilizing these prices. So kind of interesting to see all that happen. Other things that happened, nothing radical. Bloodskreath Skeleton actually did lose some more value. Let's see, Rattlebones kept the same. There was another card that I was thinking I wanted to say something of, I thought. Gambler's Glove. So I guess some of those did lose some value, but nothing extreme. I don't remember. Snag, $25. That's kind of the same where it was. I don't remember the one that I wanted to hit on. Oh, it was Magnetic Shockwave. So we've seen kind of all the other cards kind of dropping a little bit, but Magnetic Shockwave and Spoils of War are both moving the opposite direction. So I thought that was kind of interesting in terms of the market information. And those are the two most played decks. So I know Mechologist and Blitz is kind of pretty well played, and so is Warrior. So maybe it's not Blitz. I don't know. I'm not perfect on the decks. I just know I see the number one guy who plays that deck a lot. So I know that's in the community quite a bit. I know that Wizard is also a very good Blitz deck, is what I'm trying to say. All right. No more talking about decks. I don't know what I'm talking about. So Rainbow Foil Rares. Kind of your big shots here on the Rainbow Foil Rares are the Heroes. And those prices have not really moved much this week. They're kind of the same as what they were last week, which is very high. Zen State lost a little bit of value from 25. And remember, all these prices are TCG low priced right now. And then anything that seems obnoxious or an outlier, I go and find an eBay sold listing for, or look on Facebook. That's just for the rares and commons. So Data Doll kind of is up. Everything else is about the same. It just seems like the market, again, more product has entered the market, but there's so few of these cards in the boxes that it's not going to have a drastic impact, I don't think. Lunging Press is down a little bit. Springboard Somersault down a little bit. And cash in, somebody's still buying those cash ins. It's crazy. There's definitely something going on with cash in terms of speculation for Monarch or speculation for future sets. because there's no like gameplay currently happening with cash in. So just keep that in mind. All in all, sellers have lowered their prices 4%. Keep in mind, last week we had a 23% increase on those, mostly attuned to those rainbow foils, or to those heroes. So keep that in mind, and a 4% decrease this week. All right, the rares, again, cash in is being targeted, still sitting. Actually, it's down this week compared to last week, but it's still up from the $10 when that kind of all started. So sitting at $14, and those are sold. Like I put a couple of them up because I was like, all right, might as well. I had like 7 of them sitting around, so I was like, might as well sell them. I already have the foil ones for my collection, so they are selling, is what I'm saying. It's not just listed prices. So other than that, nothing huge to talk about. 3% decrease on the non-foil rares, and you can see that chart, right? Like a peak, a valley, a peak, and we're going into a valley, and eventually there'll be another peak. That's the way that the market works. The common rainbow foils, kind of the biggest things to talk about, are the Seismic Surge token, up a couple bucks to 15. IRA still sitting at $49, completely ridiculous. And let's see what else. There was something else. The Rune Chant token, which where's that? Rune Chant is sitting at $6. Last night I pulled 3 of them in 2 boxes. Go watch that stream if you haven't watched that stream. That was amazing. That was such a meme. 9 of my patrons did a box break with 2 boxes. So the Cracked Bauble sitting at 77, the Quicken sitting at 13, and the Copper at 22. Again, no real growth in anything this past week. So regular commons, the values are there. They don't really matter. It does seem like somebody's buying some of these heroes, which seems bizarre to me. Reinar's at $1.67. I don't know. Like I haven't listed any of them to see if they actually are selling at those prices, because I just don't really believe in it, but is what it is. All right, let's go to EV calculation. All in all, I'm not going to make you wait for it. Your box EV is sitting at 631.14. That assumes that you open 10 boxes and that you hit one of the legendaries. So if you're only going to open 1 box, you should be assuming more of like a 528, 529, which is much closer to that box price of what do we put the box price at 475. So we are moving down towards that box price. I kind of told you, like, those things have to even out eventually. Either the sealed boxes had to drop, or the cards, or what did I say? Either the sealed boxes had to go up, or the cards had to drop. And what's happening is the sealed boxes are dropping, but the cards are dropping faster. So so week to week, the EV chart, we're down 7%. Last week we had a little bit of a growth. This week we kind of went back down. So you can see the trend is dropping as more of these boxes enter the market, and as the box price lowers as well. So if you pull it up, let's compare that chart, right, to, I know this video is getting a little bit long, but let's compare that chart to this chart. It looks almost identical. So that's the box chart, right? And now if we go to the EV chart, see, I mean, there's peaks, higher peaks for the boxes, but it looks identical is what I was trying to say. So 631 is your EV. If you're opening 1 box, a 529. I'm probably going to open another box this week for my shop that he gets boxes in, and locally nobody wants to pay the full price right now for boxes. And so he's like, hey, if you want to open them on your channel, we can sell the singles. So that's what we're going to do. So keep an eye out for that video probably tomorrow. And all those cards will be available, and all that money goes to the shop. So anyway, hope you're having a good day. Hope you are being kind to the people around you. If you end up opening some crew boxes, or if you did, let's hear some of your polls. And yeah, hope you have a good one. Thanks for watching the video. If you need access to all this data, it's in my Patreon. It's $5 a month, blah, blah, blah. And again, I hope that you see the value of supporting the channel and not just getting the data, because I know there are stuff out there that's popping up. And so anyway, hope you have a good day. Remember to be kind to the people around you.